So I know Maximilian Dude already did a video on this topic, and most of this may end up sounding like more of the same, but this is just all what I think, and I really wanted to get this off my chest. Either way, I hope you enjoy it. So a Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite leak was recently came up on the internet, and in my opinion, it is extremely disheartening. Assuming this is real, the full roster, minus a few characters, the roster that's been leaked, there's only 13 characters for Capcom and 14 characters for Marvel, not including DLC and minus a few characters that were not included in the leak. This is all extremely disheartening when you compare it to Marvel vs. Capcom 3, or Ultimate rather, its roster of 50, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 before that had a roster of 56, I think. I'm not entirely sure, but it was definitely more than Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and it just feels like it's slowly declining in numbers. Even more disheartening is the roster itself, in my opinion. For the Capcom side, there's Arthur, Chris, Chun-Li, Dante, Firebrand, Jeddah, Monster Hunter, Morrigan, Nemesis, Ryu, Spencer, Strider Hiryu, and X. For Marvel, there's Ant-Man, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Gamora, Hawkeye, Hulk, Iron Man, Nova, Rocket and Groot, Spider-Man, Thanos, Thor, and Ultron. What I find most concerning about this roster is just how few newcomers there are. For the Capcom side, there are only 3, I believe. Jeddah, Doma, Monster Hunter, and X. X we already knew about. And for the Marvel side, I think there are 4. Ant-Man, Gamora, Ultron, and Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel we already knew about. And I guess Groot, but he's paired with Rocket, so it's difficult to say that. So this is all just extremely underwhelming compared to the roster beforehand and the roster before that. The number of characters is just... I should have expected this given Street Fighter V's roster, but this roster just has so few characters, and my hype for the game has depleted a whole lot now. Not to mention, it seems that people were right when they were saying that the X-Men characters, the odds of X-Men characters being included are slim to none, as there are absolutely no X-Men characters on this roster. Now, they could still be DLC, but again, I'm just thinking about the main roster right now. Finally, there's also the lack of Capcom series in general. There's Street Fighter, Resident Evil, Darkstalkers, Mega Man, Bionic Commando, Monster Hunter, Devil May Cry, and Ghosts and Goblins. Oh, and Strider, and that's it. Of all those franchises, the only new franchise that's never been represented in Marvel vs. Capcom before is Monster Hunter. Stuff like that in the roster make it feel like a giant waste of potential. So many franchises and characters that could be represented aren't, creating a rather bare-bones roster with hardly any characters. Now, this is still just a leak, so nothing is confirmed, and I'm hoping that it stays a leak. If this is the actual roster, I will be very upset.